You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What do you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way. Close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hell of an idea to hang with us until 6 o'clock tonight. Loaded we are. Rakestraw a little bit later on. Pat Boylan, the voice of the Fever, is going to drop in. Yeah, it's funny. Somebody brought this to my attention, and I get where it is, and I understand it. And I'm not going to open this up for a poll question or anything geeky like that. But it often makes me wonder, remember when we were going through the 90s and the Reggie Miller heyday? The Reggie Miller heyday where he is talking junk and backing it up, and not all the time backing it up, but we absolutely loved it. Now, part of the reason why is because, with all the futility the Pacers offered over a couple of different decades, or at least close to a couple of different decades back then, that was the first time since the ABA Pacers that you were absolutely introduced to high-level winning. Same holds true with the Colts. You had that 195 campaign where it was like Haley's Comet, just poof, blew in here. Like the weather. That particular winter, if you remember, too. I mean, the Haley's Comet that was Zach Crockett. Or the place kicking or lack thereof of Lynn Elliott. Same thing held true with the Pacers. It was really the first time you could ever truly embrace the Pacers other than being a loser, and not even a lovable loser. There was nothing really that lovable about losing. Everybody around here cheered for the Celtics and Larry Bird. Everybody around here cheered for Magic Johnson and the Lakers. Nobody did for the Pacers. They put a black curtain down. Not a lot of people showed up. And when they sold out games, it was because the Lakers made one visit and Kareem literally walked up and down the floor in canvas Adidas low tops that none of us would wear today. That was 1982. I remember that well. Up and down the floor in Adidas canvas low tops. And there wasn't much going on the defensive end. There was not a lot of want to on the defensive end. There was not a lot of need to on the defensive end. But then Reggie Miller introduced you to a whole new set of standards. But he did it in a way that was incredibly flashy and not so much like what things are around here. I'm not suggesting you had to grow into it, because when it coincides with winning, you can easily grow into stuff. You become a little bit more accepting of things, don't you? When it is tagged along with winning or a great deal of notoriety, which is a rarity around here. I mean, hell, regarding LeBron James and this whole free agency bullcrap, I have not historically been that pissy about LeBron James, but the whole laughing emoji stuff, the Tyrese Halliburton, and this turns this into a clown show for me, and I hate it. Like I said, I don't really care where he goes. And if he doesn't want to make a decision, if he ties up the commissioner and not getting a schedule out, I could not care less. Tie it up. Who the hell cares? Who cares? First of all, the thing I care about right now is I want to make sure that I can watch the team that is being left out of nearly every conversation in 26 and 27 right now, the NBA, and that's the Pacers. Every one. Because of the out of sight, out of mind mentality. Oh, yeah. Everybody has quickly forgotten over the past year exactly what this team accomplished or was worthy / about to before everything came falling down in particular, local professional sports fan fashion here. You guys are kind of used to it. We also reference that as getting kicked in the nuts. Being a fan around here sometimes is the equivalent of that. Yeah, think about it from an IU football standpoint. They went through it for how many years being the doormat, the joke, the butt of jokes. And now it's funny. You go from like 1 year to the next. You go from, the butt of jokes, and then you won the national title, and now you might be the most hated. Prior to that, before Kurt Signetti got here, they were like a team that nobody thought about unless they were being made fun of. And now they are the most hated. The most hated. I'm watching right now Kalen DeBoer video. He got his ass whipped by IU too. So weird to say, but it's awesome. But jumping back to the Pacers and Reggie Miller for a moment and all that you've been through, that was your introductory course into elite level winning. Because there was so much significant losing going on around here, with the exception of IU basketball or, Purdue basketball at times too. There was just a whole lot of losing. And you accepted Reggie Miller. You loved what he brought, even though maybe that wasn't really you. It was almost like it was one end of the spectrum to the other. You're going to roll up in your John Deere to Market Square Arena to watch a playoff game and Hicks versus the Knicks stuff, but yeah, Reggie Miller was far from a Hick. Now, he was Hollywood type that probably acted in a fashion, for example, if he went on another team or he was playing your team, you'd probably dislike him a great deal. Right? Probably so. And I wonder about the same thing with Caitlin Clark. Like, we sit here and, yesterday justifying the behavior, and I don't justify the behavior to a degree. And I said this yesterday. All right, you're going to get teed up. You're going to be pissed off because the officiating's bad. And I'm just here to tell you, well, it's the WNBA, so the officiating automatically is going to be bad. There's no other thing it can be but bad. You think all of a sudden, hey, we're going to go ahead. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put our best officials in the WNBA. Yeah, they'll do that right before the best officials end up officiating a 7th grade basketball game at the state of Indiana. Yeah, right before that. You're just not going to get it. So you have to recognize where you're going on this, and you recognize that you probably are going to have some bumbling buffoons that are carrying whistles. And really, that kind of plays into it anyway, because I think in large part, that's what we are born and bred to believe, right? That's a constant. But anyway, my point yesterday with Caitlin Clark was once, you get your 6th technical, and I know you're not happy about it. You're angry about it. I shouldn't say you're angry about it. She wasn't angry about it. But it was, I think, as she described to James Boyd in his question a couple of days ago, it was a quick trigger on the tech. Doesn't matter anymore. And the fact that she sits on 6, that doesn't matter either. And I know that she's on pace to end up missing a game. That's what can happen. That's when things go haywire. And that's when everybody should get pissy. And it's no longer about Stephanie White, the head coach, according to fans, not absorbing the technicals, which is just so beyond nerdy I can't even comprehend. It's not about the WNBA officials just being incredibly inadequate. You know that going in. So you should be able to deal with it a little bit better than you do. But what it is about, it's about your team and your teammates and the fans that enjoy your presence, that are going to watch you play, your teammates that are counting on you, your team, your organization that's counting on you. Yeah, the WNBA and, trying to soak up. They've made and bought so many different things. And really the Fever have at times too, organizationally speaking. I don't really care about that. but we're well beyond the category of a lot of this bull crap that's shared by people. Where we are right now is in the category of, hey, you know what? Winning's really cool. Let's really focus in on that. And what do we do? How do we go about our business to ensure that we win or put ourselves in the best situation to win? Yeah, not compromising yourself because of ridiculous Luka Doncic type of technicals. And everybody hates his guts. Nobody likes that guy unless he's playing for you. And it kind of made me wonder if around the WNBA, if that's not how you feel, if that's not how everybody feels. You know, I don't like her, but, and it's weird too, because what matters to me the most is the winning. I don't care how many logo threes or how many 30-footers she hits, like 1 of every 10. That's just fantastic. I think I could do that. That's great. What I care about is the stock that you, the fans, are putting into this product here locally, and I want to see the success of that product. I want to see any success of any professional product, really any product around here, because it has been few and far between. And we saw with IU football, going back to last season, just the significance, the joy that can bring. And I know that the Purdue fans will disagree, and that's fine, disagree. Just go ahead and disagree, because I felt the same way when Purdue was in the national championship game a couple of years ago, too. I want to be here to talk about and to cover winners. And the glitz and the glamour be damned. It can go away, and that's okay. But I want to cover winners. And you have to be about your team, the teammates, and the fan base that supports you to best position yourself to win. That's what matters the most. And that's why yesterday it was so easy to make that call. That's what matters. I think when James asked her the question of, do you change the way that you play? Now, you don't change the way that you play, but just stop being mouthy and just play. Because that's the one reason I really liked her. And I still really like her, is because she puts all this stuff. Nobody deals with the stupidity like she and they have to, and I do get that. It is just constant. It is rapid-fire dumbassery they have to deal with every single day out of something even more stupid than the day prior. And it takes a lot to deal with that. That's why you're here, because you are supposed to be, and hopefully you are different. And the one thing I would ask is just do not compromise your availability. I don't care if you view it as a meaningless regular season game. The season isn't long enough for these games now, especially in the position at 16-10 they currently are, to be meaningless. To be who you are supposed to be, you got to go out there and play to the best of your ability. And again, don't sidetrack that. Don't derail it because of this. Hey, listen, if you're a half step left and a half step right and somebody drives past you, I don't like it, but I can live with that more than getting angry about some half-ass official that's not any good anyway that gives you an early tee because they don't like the dialogue you're giving them. That's you know that going in. You know that going in, that they're not any good. So just like you do when you're playing, what happens? You adjust to the situation. Adjust to the situation. Honestly, with that quick tech that happened on Saturday, that made up for. You go back to Friday night, there was a lot of screaming and the yelling and the shaking. That was like a tantrum right there. NBA players would have been tossed for like a week. Scott Foster would still be throwing people out for that tantrum. Nah, just don't compromise your play. And no matter what anybody says, and this is how you're going to, if somebody says, well, you know, I think they're much better with her on the bench. Yeah, okay. Hey, dumbass, take it easy. No. There are ways and means in which she plays to make absolutely everybody better, and then she can also go out and get hers. That is a quality you do not often find, especially in the women's game. I mean, hell, any game for that matter. Vital. And believe me, I don't care if it's the WNBA. I don't care what league we're talking about. Go out and win you something. Get us excited. You know, all this other window dressing bullcrap. It's funny. I was talking to Kev. Kev was in here doing his podcast or something a little bit earlier today. And I said, it is so weird with the Colts right now. They start training camp next week. And it's almost like with a lot of Colts fans, it's a foregone conclusion. I think you're excited that it's coming back just because you feel like you're in a really boring spot right now. Meaning there's not a great deal of belief in the product once it does get back. And for me, like I know what I believe it's going to take long term. But this team right now is built for the short term, or it either believes or it crosses its fingers and it's hoping for the short term. Yeah, the long term right now is not too much of a possibility. Man, there are so many similarities, and not the same path, but similarities to the Colts and to the Pacers. We are living in the moment. And you know what? That's exactly the type of society we're living in. Societally speaking, we live in the moment anyway. If we have to think too much about it and the moment is gone, we have all the attention span of like a gnat in general terms. So you should actually enjoy living in the moment. The problem with living in the moment, if you're the Colts, you've had so many reasons to be able to be happy about anything in the past 10 years. So that part of it's been a foregone conclusion. But you can still do something like win and be good and show results this season that you haven't done past 5+ years, going back basically 10 years right now. Do some things that you haven't done. You know, even if long-term there are significant questions, I'd be okay right now to live like the rest of the universe and live in that moment. I'm okay with that. If you're Caitlin Clark and the Fever, while you want this year to be great, if you're Caitlin Clark, you don't live in the moment. You make sure that you're available for the longer term. And for the Pacers, you got about 2 years moving forward here to get something done, because I don't know what the hell is going to happen after that. The experiment that was for the Pacers, Taylor and Peter, that is now over. The second-round selection, who did not even start at Liberty, is done. I honestly look at it, and they would know better than I. It's very easy for me to say, yeah, I don't really care. And it would be accurate for me saying, yeah, I don't really care. As I mentioned, because we are living in this 2-year period, and things will be in flux after this 2-year period, that's what matters to me. And it's not like I thought. Taylor and Peter and exactly how he was going to fit in any sort of rotation was not keeping me up at night. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to be one of those selections where you go, why'd you guys even jack around and do that in the first place? That's what's going to come up. So if you fail in the next 2 years, what's going to come up is, well, look what you did. You compromised the lottery for what? Not as good as you were the year prior. And then going down a path in which you have no idea the direction in year number 3. So, again, that prioritizes the next 2 years incredibly. But as far as the whole Taylor and Peter thing, and, this is how he looked in Summer League, I don't care. The Summer League was not, other than, kind of curious what Braden Smith might look like. None of that to me matters. What matters to me is about the core group of which they have thrown all of their belief. That's the reason why we're all here. We gather together because of the belief in the core of this team. And as Metallica said, James, nothing else matters. Did they say that? They say that in a song?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a Metallica song about it.
Nothing else matters. I don't know if it had anything to do with the Pacers
Probably
in year
not.
number 3 after the next 2 years, but by God, it could.
I think it's a love song.
Is it really a love song?
Yeah, I think he wrote it about a girlfriend. You didn't know Nothing Else Matters was a love song?
I don't think so. I didn't really look that into it. See, look at James turning the tables on the jackass host of the show and saying, you didn't know that. So
I'm shocked.
Give me the insight on Nothing Else. If I'm going to reference it, I sure as hell need to know what it means.
Well, I believe, and I may be slightly mistaken on this, but I believe that they were on tour for the Justice album. James Hetfield missed his girlfriend, and so he wrote the song. And I think he wrote it while he was on the phone with her, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's almost like Journey and Faithfully. Highway Run.
See, now you're turning it back on me because I don't know that one.
See, I always think if you're a rock star, you're on the road and you're just bang, 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 bang. You know, you're not really worried about what the hell's going on back home. Am I wrong? Or is that just Motley Crue?
I mean, to be clear,
I'm on the road. I'm not really worried about what's happening back home here.
I don't think this is the woman he ended up marrying. So you could be right there.
Ew, that's awesome. All right, so we'll start right there. And I guess I'll ask you the question. I don't need to go into any prolonged, deep debate, but you guys think would you dig on Caitlin Clark if she played someplace else? Just out of curiosity. Would you like, if she played someplace else, would you go, hey, you know what? Would it still be must watch? And I'm cool that it is with other fans out there, because you look every stinking week. I saw the numbers yesterday for the last Wednesday game. And they were stratospheric, the one with Tamika Catchings. Just huge numbers. But would you really care? And if you did care, would your care be, I'm not a big fan of this. There's a lot of whining, a lot of tantrum throwing, a lot of pissing, a lot of moaning. Just out of curiosity. I'll yak at you guys if you want to do it at 317-239-1070. I think that would be outstanding. Let's yak. Not in a way after I drank, but yak as in talking. Those terms. Rakestraw is going to join us coming up in a couple of minutes. Pat Boylan, the voice of the Fever, is going to be here in the 4 o'clock hour. Dan Wetzel of ESPN, he's still there, right? I want to make sure that I have somebody on that did not get laid off today.
As far as I'm aware, he is still there.
That's great. So if he gets laid off before 5, we may not have Dan Wetzel on. I think he's a valued writer and opinion man for ESPN, but I just want to make sure.
Well, based on how they're doing it, it could happen while he's on air with us.
Man. It is. I say this as if I'm there. I mean, I'm just right here. That's a hell of a business, isn't it? Carl Ravitch has been there since 1993. And it's weird. He didn't really have a signature, but he was just like Carl Ravitch. He was just a guy that you can count on in the lineup. So are we moving away from guys we can count on in the lineup? I need more guys I can count on in the lineup. And Ravitch was a guy you can count on. He can do a little bit of baseball, maybe talk a little bit of hockey, talking NFL. He can anchor. And I know nobody cares about the sports centers and the anchor work anymore. But he was a guy that you could count on in the lineup. So the expendability after 33 years is a question mark for me, James.
I guess. I guess we need to make more room for guys to just yell hot takes at each other all day.
Oh, man, we got to get on. I got to start yelling at everybody every day. I got to start yelling. Got to shake. Can I shake my fist and yell at the same time?
Pound the table.
I'm going to shake my fist and yell. Here's what I want everybody to understand. The world in which that is, and I would know because I know how these people are and how they act. It's complete bullcrap. Because there is zero way. All they care about, and I'm not suggesting they're wrong, would be what they're making on the other end. There is not one thing. You go through all these topics, there is no way a single human being cares about all this bullcrap. No way. As you notice, my concentration, our concentration, is things that matter to you. Whether Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL and get mad and debate about that does not matter to you, nor does it matter to me. There's no way all these clowns care about that. Man, I feel bad about Ravitch. He was a guy that you can count on in the lineup. Did you see some of those names too? I think David Lloyd was one.
I think Pelissero's gone too.
I like Tom Pelissero.
Yeah,
he was
good.
NFL Network. You knew once they ended up merging that was going to be craptacular. Exactly how it turned out. All right, quick break. I think Greg may be closer to 40. Did Greg tell you that?
I believe he did, yes.
Not like drinking a 40, but just 40 minutes or 40-minute mark of the 3 o'clock hour. All right, Garth Brooks tickets we have to give away again today.
We do indeed.
Oh, Trip Delight. Fantastic on that bad boy yesterday. Hey, me and you, and I mean all of you out there, this is another reason why you guys and I get along so well, because we hang. Speedway City Garage. Jeff Matthews has us out there. That's coffee and beer supreme with the NASCAR Hauler Parade. That is coming up on Thursday. Speedway, Main Street and Speedway. Can you guys all join, attend? Hey, we're counting down. Summertime's about ready to end. Have you guys noticed that it's about time for your kids to go back to school? That's whack. What did Chris Cross say? Wiggity, 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 whack. Oh, that's very much so. It's exactly what going back to school at the end of July is. Yeah, but we have 2 weeks off in the fall break. You don't need fall break. You've only been back to school for a month and a half. Nobody needs a fall break. You need your summer. I need to run on the platform of something, make summer great again, because you guys are crapping it all up.
JMV for the school board.
Did you imagine that? JMV for the school board. He hasn't read a book since 1984. Proudly hasn't read a book since 1984. Vote him in.
Sounds like a premise for a sitcom. JMV takes over as superintendent of a school.
Yeah, some of those guys are good. Some of those guys are complete jackasses, though. And you guys, you look in the mirror every day and know the grifters and know who you are, too. You know if you're really good, and you also know if you are a superintendent jackass. You know. So, no, Thursday, Speedway City Garage, Outlaw Beer. That's Outlaw Light Beer. Me and Tyler Reddick at Kroger. I almost said Kroger, as I made reference to a little bit earlier on X. Kroger, Crawfordsville Road. That is on Saturday morning. Me and Tyler Reddick. More on that coming up, too. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Got a quick weather forecast for you, courtesy of Fox 59. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us. Pat Boylan, Dan Wetzel as well. This is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Here's that weather update. I'm going to apply for that gig right there. 317-353-2141. That's Johnny Chris Love at Love Hitting an Air Ohio dealer today. Why? I know you just heard the forecast, and we're going to be uncharacteristically into the 70s later on this week. Don't worry about it. This weekend, it is going to heat back up. I would just tell you, this sets the stage this week and right now to call Love Heating and Air Ohio dealer. 317-353-2141. Call them now. Tell them I sent you. Make sure your system is doing the job that it should. You still have the remainder of July and then August to deal with your cooling system. Make sure everything is cool and comfortable. And by the way, if you need a repair, if that's what you find out with Love Heating and Air Ohio dealer, you mentioned my name, $144 off the service fee. It is that simple. That's Love Heating and Air Ohio dealer. 317-353-2141. Get that system worked on today if you find out you need a repair. $144 off the service fee by mentioning my name. That's love-hvac.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
2 more minutes. They could be miles off course.
That's impossible. They're on instruments. This is going to be a real sweat.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And there we go. Wiggity, 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 whack. It is a whatever weekend on B105.7. Those are incredibly fun. Don't try to compare us to another bad little fad. What's that a reference to, James? What does that reference of the 1990s? Don't try to compare us to a bad little fad. Another bad little fad.
Grunge music.
So another bad creation was in the stable of artists of Michael Bivens at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the guy's name Dallas Reed? Is that the guy, the producer back then? I can't remember. But they were a part of that group, and that was a shot at another bad creation, which, like Criss Cross, was also a very young R&B / hip-hop act.
Oh, so this was hip-hop
back in the early days. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Back in the early 90s. Another bad creation with classics like Playground and Aisha. And also known, much like Belle Biv DeVoe was BBD, they were known as ABC. They were a part of James, the East Coast family. Boys to Men was a part of the East Coast family. Are you feeling like you're getting educated on this show on this Tuesday afternoon?
I'm learning a lot about 1990s hip-hop.
Pacers and Jalen Slauson, two-way deal, according to Michael Scotto at Hoopside. Slauson had a nice summer league. Yesterday, we learned that Talon Peter was done, and Jalen Slauson is the news today. Just so you know. Hey, I also wanted to mention this. This is me with my friends at B105.7. It is called the B105.7 Comedy Night. September the 12th, Mad Hatter in Greenwood. Now, they just released tickets yesterday, and I believe they only have a handful remaining. It is me, Sean Copeland, Nick Jordan, and Annie. And we're going to be up on stage at Mad Hatter in Greenwood on September the 12th.
Now you said this is
do comedy.
This is a comedy night.
It is a comedy night. I have done that in my existence twice, and both times I was incredibly vulgar.
So is this? Are you doing like a tight 5-10 minute stand up?
Well, I it's funny. The last time I did it was for Scott Long about 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it at the Mirage Egyptian Room. And I had to be tight because I was the last one to go on. And a lot of these other people, like what's that Hoops guy? Leonard Hoops, who's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Hoops was up there for like an hour and 25 minutes. Literally. Leonard Hoops did everything but read the Gettysburg Address while he was up there.
So they put you in a tight time constraint.
I got up there. I had to throw everything away. I just started talking about my genitalia for like 5 minutes. And you know, that's how I got it. And we can all joke about that. Oh, that's how you got things shortened up, right? With your genitalia. Yeah, that's it.
Now, did they have a producer that you could see kind of waving at you in the back?
Yeah, with Scott Long saying, yeah, we're going to be done.
So he was doing me.
I walked out on stage. They go, hey, welcome JMV. And he goes, you got about 5 minutes. Oh, man. So, and I just walked out. I didn't even say, hey, thanks for, I said, hey, you ever had this problem with your, and just went right into it.
Is there a recording of this somewhere?
I hope not.
Oh, man, I hope there is.
I hope not. So, yeah, Eddie Garrison was there as well. There was
and Eddie doesn't have a recording of it?
Who was the HGTV show that was here locally? The Hammer and Two Chicks and a Hammer, or something, which sounds like something I would have watched back in 1982. But there was some HGTV show.
Two Chicks and a Hammer.
That's what it is. See, That's not what I watched right after Hots and Foul Play on HBO late night back in the day.
That does sound like it's an entirely different show.
Yeah, but she was up there forever. But Leonard Hoops is up there and I like. They were all awesome people. But see, here's the problem. I went last, so I sat down, me and Hagen, and I got completely blasted. So you can imagine my 5 minutes was impactful, as they say.
I'm just impressed that you actually stuck to the 5 minutes.
Yeah, I did. Well, it was like two jokes that, hey, a guy just went right out and got right into it. And like Scott Long said, man, I love the way you went out and got right. You just walked out there and said, yeah, guys, you ever have a problem with your, and that's how it started. That's pretty funny. Anyway, let me get back to that really quick before we hit this break. And Greg Rakestraw is going to join us on the other side. There are only a handful of tickets remaining. This thing has sold out or close to sold out already. It was announced yesterday. But September the 12th, that's on a Saturday night. Now you're going to say, well, what about the JMV takeover? I will move the JMV takeover to the 11th on that Friday night. And, of course, that is the Colts home opener against Baltimore weekend as well. So it is going to be a busy weekend, but that's okay. It is going to be a blast. Matt Hatter in Greenwood. Go to b105.7.com. I'm assuming that's their website. I mean, hell, I don't need to really send you guys directions. You can find this, right? And make sure, b105.7.com. There are very few tickets remaining, and I would love to see you guys out there.
Well, I'm looking at the B105.7 website, and it's right there on the front page.
There it is, buddy. I told them that I would be incredibly professional, yet nobody believes me, and that's probably the way to go.
Did they get that in writing?
Well, I have to go in and say, hey, you guys can't fire me for stuff I say here, okay? So nobody fire me. But no, it'll be fun, I promise. Now, b105.7.com. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us coming up next. Pat Boylan, top of the hour. Dan Wetzel here after 5. This is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. I was up there a little bit earlier today. Just a fantastic looking inventory, like always, and great deals going on, and a lot of smiling faces, meaning those that went up looking for a great deal and found it. With my friend Eric Wilson and Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st State Road 37 in Fishers. I was up there a little bit earlier today. So many happy people loving their car buying experience, and for many, loving their car buying experience for the first time in their life. You've got the inventory, you have the service after the sale, and you have the incentives to buy, which is a big old coupon that's going to help save you money. And by the way, too, look at the auto manufacturer Buick right now, one of the hottest, if not the hottest going, and the Buick Enclave in a variety of styles that you're going to love. The Buick Enclave, it's a great deal. Talk to Eric Wilson, and if you're looking for that new set of wheels, this is the car buying experience that you want. Andy Moore Buick GMC. Tell them I sent you. 131st State Road 37 in Fishers. Shout out to Joe and Connecticut Water Systems, making sure you have the best water possible out there. And I am the most incredible testimonial. Here's why. I live on a well in Morgan County. I've said this before. There is zero way my water is probably even drinkable without the effect of Connecticut Water Systems. And if they can transform that water into elite water, imagine what they can do for you. But you got to start with the no-cost test to find out exactly what they need to do, because they custom build their system to benefit, to work for you. No generic equipment, just something specific for your home water needs. That's Connecticut Water Systems and Joe. Set up that appointment for that no-cost test today. That's Connecticut.com.
The Ride with JMV.
You take drugs, Danny? Every day.
Good. So what's the problem?
I don't know.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
ABC, another bad creation. Chillin'. I had this CD. I think I still have this CD someplace. Greg Rakestraw's in studio. Do you have this CD?
I don't have this CD. I have this cassette tape single, or at least I had it. I'm sure it's no longer in my possession. But yes, I swing my beat at the playground. I know exactly this.
Was
track.
that not, they reference Roro? Is Roro one?
Could be.
Roro. And that's a shout out to one of my good friends at Paradise Day Watson. Zach and Rhea Watson has a daughter named Monroe. And her nickname, Roro.
Speaking
Roro.
of Monroe,
I love Roro.
I got to golf with Lindsay Monroe all day yesterday.
Well, how was that?
She was
She's a phenomenal
wonderful.
Human. Yeah.
I learned that she is a small town person just like you and I are.
Yes.
That has made it here in the big city.
Yeah.
And we got placed with some serious ringers in golf. We finished third in Bob Kravitz's golf outing yesterday. My team actually beat Kevin Bowen's team. It will be the only time in the history of Western civilization that I had a golf event and I had a better score than Kevin Bowen.
That is a good time.
Oh, it's a great time.
And Bob has long been putting this on, and it's always a great event.
And that is benefiting ALS research. It's a cause near and dear to his heart. with his mom. Frankly, my uncle is going through that right now. So I was going to show up just to help out Bob, but it means a little something more to me these days as well.
That is outstanding. Greg and I are going to be together coming up on Saturday, I hear.
That is correct. Now, last year, you did this as a favor to me since the Newark airport got me on my way back from Iceland.
Oh, I went in studio.
So you went in studio, and, man, I am really glad I bought you a present at the Reykjavik airport.
You did.
I got you your Icelandic. I got it in size medium because that's that. I don't roll that way these days, but you do. So clearly, we're going to make this an annual tradition where you and I talk NASCAR. We're going to have to lean on our Southern Indiana roots.
But I got to go out there, though.
You do have to go out there this time. I mean, you in theory, you could come here, and I would handle the show from in there. So if you want to do the show remotely, you can. But probably works best if you join me at our studios on the third floor of the Media Center along the front street.
Well, I will be at the Crawfordsville Road Kroger. Prior to that, 9 until 11 with Tyler Reddick.
Then probably just go ahead and get your credential while you're out there and walk on over.
That's what we're going to be doing, too. Now, is there anything different about this particular Brickyard weekend than what we normally would be dealing with?
No. I think it's kind of the same old thing. Yeah. The only thing that has changed, and again, let me admit, this is where I kind of carbo load all things NASCAR for a week so I can speak intelligently about it for a couple of days. Then I kind of move on with my life at that point. The only thing that is different is that the playoff format has changed. No longer is it win and you are in. You have to be in the top 16 in points. Other than that, and as of Sunday, there are 5 more races left to go before the playoffs start. This race and the 4 in August. There you go.
So is the and the support series races are out there too, right?
So the truck series race is at Raceway
Park. Which
I love.
I love races
on Friday nights.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's going to happen. I would love to see with what is now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Yeah.
What we sort of known as the Busch Series. I would love to see them almost have like a standalone event at another time of the year out at Raceway Park.
Yeah.
Because the sponsors want the television window of the track. I get it. I'd love to see them come here twice. I think that'd be a big deal if they went back out there. But truck Friday night out on the west side in Claremont. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series guys, including Jonathan Bird's grandson, Nathan, will be in that field.
Yes. I miss Jonathan Bird so much.
I did an interview with Nathan today.
I don't know I could eat from there now, but I do miss it.
Right.
Yeah.
I still would enjoy the fried chicken if offered to me.
Yeah.
But that's going to be on Saturday. And then Sunday we go left turns for 160 laps, 400 miles.
Man, the other thing that's changed, and obviously the tragic loss of Kyle Busch is one over the course of this season, but there are a lot of new, interesting names that have been infused into NASCAR.
Carson Hocevar is the guy that seemingly gets most of the attention of that group, but if you look at the point standings, Denny Hamlin's having a tremendous year. He is younger than both of us. He's 46, but he's kind of the long in the tooth guy now. And part of that, sadly, is that Kyle Busch not being with us. But really, of that generation, you are looking at Denny Hamlin. You're looking at Brad Keselowski. Joey Logano is younger than those guys, and he won for the first time in a year. This is Joey's 18th year, I want to say, in NASCAR, and he's like 38 at this point because he got such a started at a young age. But no, the generational torch kind of seemingly has been passed. Hamlin is the guy that's hanging on to it, and again has a 68-point lead heading into the weekend.
That is Greg Rakestraw. He's in studio with us. So overall, Spain was the World Cup 2026 champion. Did the hosting effect with North America and the U.S. in general, will that help boost American soccer to a point where people are going to expect it and not just pay attention for a lot of it during a month-long window every 4 years?
I hope so. And it was wonderful to have it be the water cooler conversation for a part of 5 or 6 weeks. Again, the timing could not have been better. As we've talked about on the show, you literally drop that in right after the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals, with both kind of finish a little more quickly maybe than expected, and then it ends, and now we've got like a week before NFL training camp. So you could not have had it from a better timing standpoint from an American sports audience. Frankly, there is already a pretty significant interest in like UEFA, European football, and the Champions League, Premier League, et cetera, in this country. It's just about getting more fans to care about the sport that is of the domestic variety. whether it's watching Major League Soccer, whether it's watching the USL Championship, which the Indy 11 are a part of. And, MLS home attendances for the most part are pretty solid. The fact that there are 4 of the professional leagues you can watch is tremendous. Now we will find out in the next 6 to 8 weeks, is there an attendance boom in places like Indianapolis and Detroit and Louisville and Pittsburgh? And these are all markets that are in the USL Championship, or maybe in MLS markets where they have not been drawing as well. A Dallas, a Denver, Montreal, places like that. There's already a knowledge base and an accessibility and an availability for fans in this country to watch soccer from in any form they can across the planet. Now will they spend their money to buy seats and go watch it in person? That's what we'll find out the next couple of
Quickly, and I'll let Greg go here. So the defending national champion in football, IU.
Yes.
Where does that rank them right now in terms of the most hated college football programs present day? Because I think they happen to be either on or near the top, considering their evolution in the past 2 years.
The story of them being underdogs is now officially over.
Yeah.
And once you win, people want to see you torn back down. So, yes, and it's, so much difference. Well, they didn't play anybody. Frankly, their non-conference schedule doesn't matter because they've made the college football playoff the last 2 years. That is the joy of being in the Big Ten. But if they didn't play anybody argument, at Iowa, at Oregon, at Penn State, Ohio State on a neutral field, shellacked Alabama and Oregon, and then beat Miami in their own yard to win the national championship. So
you can look down all the former SEC champions and their resume
exactly
may not even live up to that.
When you play 9 conference games, and you know what? If Indiana had petered out in the quarterfinals and the semifinals, you could have used that argument.
Yeah.
You were not tested enough. When you win the whole stinking thing, you have no defense. Indiana has this thing figured out. Now, can they go do it again?
That would have been a great little headline for Talon Peter. Petered out.
I kept waiting for somebody to use that in terms of him not being signed.
If he'd been more significant of a name, somebody maybe would have headlined petered out right there. You and I, noon on Saturday together.
That is correct. For 90 whole minutes.
I'm just going to say Greg Rakestraw joins us now and then stop
just
talking.
Let me go?
Yeah.
Are you bringing Odin Meat Locker?
I can if you want.
Please.
I can if you want.
Yeah. I would say that would be lovely.
Shout out to the Schwartz and Troopers down there too, Greg. Thanks, pal.
Yes, sir.
Quick break. We'll come back. Pat Boylan and I on the other side. Dan Wetzel a little over an hour away, and Garth Brooks tickets as well. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. The district tab, both locations, just simply outstanding. North side of Clearwater Crossing, ask for Sammy. She's going to tend a little bit of bar. She's going to support your efforts to have the most outstanding time possible. With the damn good food, the happy hour specials, televisions everywhere, you shall be entertained. How about downtown? The epicenter that is all fun. Whatever's going on downtown, you are close to that at the district tab. So post up there, post game it up there as well for games, for concerts, for whatever with the great times inside the district tab downtown. Michael and the gang have created an exceptional environment. Take advantage of it. The district tab, 2 locations, Northside, Clearwater Crossing, downtown Indy. To find out more, thedistricttab.com.
The Ride with JMV.
It's Jim Perry. Now talk to him, damn it.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Rakestraw, podcast that up at 1075thefan.com. Thank me later. James, I smell like Heather. You ever smell a Heather?
Heather?
Heather cut my hair today at Big League Barbers, the official haircut of the JMV Takeover.
I gotcha.
Noblesville. Heather cut my hair. Heather and Lindsay will be a part of the grand reopening celebration coming up on Saturday. Now, you know this to be true. Big League Barbers, 3 locations in Hamilton County. Westfield and in Fishers. Oddly enough, both of the locations right next to both of those, a Joe's Grill. Right? It's like perfect.
Well, how convenient.
How convenient. Like Nally and Miller go, I get my haircut. But this location is in Noblesville, Monday Drive in Noblesville. They're having a grand reopening because the construction is over. So this is a celebration and also kind of a back-to-school effect coming up on Saturday. So great deals just on tremendous haircuts. It's a great atmosphere, very sports-oriented, and Jeff does a tremendous job with the locations. But this is exclusive to the Noblesville location. Food, prizes, and more. The grand reopening. Big League Barbers coming up in Noblesville on Saturday. Go ahead and make sure you get your appointment. You ask for Heather, ask for Lindsay, and then that's something else you can thank me later. Hey, I'm no picnic to cut the hair of right here, let me tell you that. But I like coming out of there and smelling like a Heather or a Lindsay. It's cool.
Now,
every single time.
What does a Heather smell like?
Good.
Good?
Well, yeah, I mean, normally, do you recognize this, that there are certain names, both with dudes and ladies, where they're kind of hot chick names, hot dude names. Now, I don't know so much about the hot dude names. I just know that if your name is probably Gary or something, that may not be great.
Yeah. I agree.
Right?
I agree.
But if your name is Heather, then you were probably, or maybe still are in this case, Smoke. Lindsay, Smoke, right? Ashley, Smoke. Brittany, Smoke.
I think that checks out.
Yeah.
I can see the logic.
Right. Yeah, John, yeah, everybody can see, yeah, whatever. So I had to rename myself JMV. Now, again, Big League Barbers, the official haircut of the JMV Takeover, their grand reopening in Noblesville coming up. That is on Saturday. Tell them I sent you, too. On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, I don't know about Pat. Is like Pat a hot dude name? Is Pat Boylan, the voice of the Fever, joins us now? Is that like a hot dude name, or what is Pat?
I don't know if I get credit for that, but I will tell you this. Big League Barber was my barber from probably 15 to 22 years old, and I owe them a lot because when I was 15, 16, I had, very sadly, a bowl cut that I wish I could erase from my personal history, but Big League Barber is how I got rid of the embarrassing 16-year-old Pat bowl cut, and I haven't looked back. So
did you get your hair cut at home back in the day?
Yeah. There was one not too far from us, and then I even went back when throughout college and went to the same lady. Her name was Olga, and I think eventually she ended up retiring, and I think that's why I switched barbers. I don't really remember, but yeah, I probably went there for 7 or 8 years. Big
League Barbers also would cut the hair, Pat Boylan, back when he had a bowl haircut. So my grandma would cut mine up until Debbie at Command Performance in 1982 started cutting mine in the Bloomington College Ball. True story. Debbie always told me that at 12 I looked like I was 22. But unfortunately for Debbie, I didn't know that you were supposed to tip back then. And she never got a tip for saying I looked 10 years older than I actually was. But she would always put me in the window in the mall. So all the girls that I tried to hit on when I was 12 would walk by and then see my hair all kind of with the bangs all combed down, getting my hair cut. It was very unusual.
So then John back then fit the bill for, what were you calling it, a hot male name?
Yeah, well, no, I had no chance, brother. No chance. I'd go to all the skating parties at Western Skate Land, and they would have the ladies' choice snowball. That's when when the dude stood on the wall and the girls would skate by and grab the dude they wanted to skate around and hold hands with. And they would be playing REO Speedwagon, I Can't Fight This Feeling, or REO Speedwagon, Keep on Loving You. And guess who was left on the wall? Yours truly, buddy. No wonder I'm scarred.
You know what? I'm not sure I believe that. And while I've never experienced this, I feel like I can just see it happening in an episode of Stranger Things.
I couldn't even get a chick at Eastern High School.
Well, John, we both then are.
Either they were I was related to them, or they didn't want me. I was kind of hosed.
I think we both qualify as late bloomers.
All right, that's a good segue you have here. Are we what? And they shouldn't be really. They should be consistently a lot better than they have been. But is this Fever team a bit of a late blooming type of squad? You think as we approach the All-Star break?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up. I was actually having a conversation with one of the members of our coaching staff who has been, Gary Kloppenberg, who has been with the Fever for numerous different stretches. He was here in 2015, 2017, 2018, was also here in 2022, and now is stepping back into a role, a bigger role here as Christmas Kelly steps away, as she will be giving birth here in just a few weeks. So congratulations to her, and it's been a real testament to her for her ability to coach up until this point. I think most Stephanie White coach teams, if you look at her history in the WNBA, which this is her 6th year as a W head coach, the back half is always better than the front half. And that was certainly true last year. This team was really playing at the level that it wanted to going into the playoffs. And after last season, so many ups and downs with not having Caitlin Clark for most of the year, all of a sudden they get hot at the end of the season. They win a first-round playoff series. They're in overtime to go to the finals. And you can go back. Stephanie White's first year as a head coach was 2015. That team started 3-6 and finished the year a win away from a championship. So I think that kind of is the sign of a Stephanie White coach team, one that gets better as the season goes. And I think you're seeing that here. You look at this recent homestand, a frustrating game against Golden State. You found a way when you didn't play well defensively against Seattle, which I think is key because overall, we talked about this, but the offense, it is arguably historically good. If the season ended right now, the Fever would score the most points per game in the history of the league. It's just been phenomenal. Where do they finish defensively goes a very long way, I think, in telling the story of the 2026 Indiana Fever. Well, they didn't have it on Friday night against Seattle, no question, and that'll be something that they'll want to continue to improve upon. But to win a game where you don't have it and have the Caitlin Clark heroics, I think it's noteworthy to still be able to get games like that, even when you don't play how you want to defensively. And then the first half against New York wasn't certainly Indiana's best half, but their ability to bounce back on Saturday night, I think, was really significant. So they've won 4 out of 5 here. It seems like everything's trending in the right direction. You still want to see improvement, specifically on the defensive end. As we've talked about, fouling, that's been better, but they'll want to continue to see improvement and turnovers as well. But I think you like the trend line of where this team is.
I will say this, though. A lot was made about Friday night and what you had to overcome against a 6-win team. But that 6-win team took Minnesota to the brink last night, too, at home. So that 6-win team, even in losing, has been playing a hell of a lot better.
I know people don't want to hear this, but that Seattle team is way better than their record. They're 1-10 in clutch games, which are games decided by within 5 points at any point in the final 5 minutes. So what's happening with Seattle is they're actually playing way better than their record. They're just losing all the close games. If they were 500 over that stretch, they'd be fighting for a playoff spot. In fact, their net rating, their point differential, which judge how you win and how you lose, I think Seattle is something like the 10th best team in the league and one push that should be pushing for a playoff spot. They just haven't closed games. And they're extremely young. Anybody that watched that game, probably their 2 best players were the 2 20-year-olds who are going to be phenomenal, already very tough. But they're extremely young, and they looked the part, Seattle, down the stretch, and the Fever took advantage of that. And actually, there's a lot of similarities between them and Indiana's next opponent, which is Connecticut, which is a team, when you look at them, their record is not going to jump off the page. They have the second to worst record in the league, but over their last month, they're 5-4. Over their last month, they've beaten Minnesota. They're similarly young, similarly struggling in close games, which is why their record is what it is. But they're dangerous. And coming up, tomorrow you've got the final game before the break. It has the potential across the league to be a trap game. When you've got the break coming up, you're trying not to look ahead. Certainly something that, Stephanie White will be pushing on the Fever's end to stay focused for one more game. And I think it's a good test of professionalism here because if you get that game, I think you love going into the All-Star break at 17-10. I think that's a great spot to be. And speaking of professionalism, I think they've shown a lot of it lately. The win on the second night of a back-to-back with a stronger second half than New York had when New York had all those days off and the Fever had no rest. But ultimately were able to close strong. You go back to the final game against Las Vegas. At the end of a long road trip, the Fever win that game by 34. I mean, those are two teams that some people thought at the beginning of the year were 1-2 in the WNBA. And the Fever win those emphatically. So I think another good professionalism test is coming up here on Wednesday, and a test that I think the Fever lately have been passing with flying colors.
He is Pat Boylan, the voice of the Fever. That's 8 o'clock coming up on Wednesday, Connecticut. Then the All-Star break and 3 on the road in Seattle, Portland, and Minnesota. Coming up shortly thereafter. Pat's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You also mentioned professionalism. And Caitlin Clark, while on the floor, has now 6 technicals. We know with the 8th how you're going to get compromised, and then every 2 after that. How concerning should that be to Fever fans out there?
Well, you certainly don't want to have to lose her. And, obviously the trend of technical fouls per games played would have her getting to 8 at that same trend, at that same ratio if she continues the rest of the season. So it's something you certainly hope she's able to avoid. If it does happen, I don't think it's end of the world. You obviously don't want the technical fouls to accumulate too high. I'm not suggesting that. I think a lot of people maybe overstate it just a little bit because Indiana just played a few games without Caitlin Clark. I mean, you don't want it to happen. But if it happens, I think this is a team that has shown last year that it's capable of managing a one-game situation if they don't have her. But no, I mean, certainly as you hit if you look at the WNBA standings and look where teams are right now, and as you're not in the home stretch, this is kind of lap 3 right now of a 4-lap race, but you're getting close to that start-finish line of starting the 4th lap here. And once you get there, the margins are so tight. I mean, top to bottom in the WNBA, we're talking about the 2 teams with the worst records in the league, Seattle and Connecticut, who are both playing good basketball right now. You're looking at the teams around Indiana, like Dallas, who's playing well, and Atlanta, who's playing well. Golden State's playing great. It's very tight up there at the top of the standings, and the Fever, if they want to get home court in the first round, still have a fair amount of work to do to try to get into one of those spots. So the margins are slim. You want Caitlin Clark available in every game you have her for, especially when those margins are this slim, and hopefully it's something that she's able to avoid. She can still get one more, but then it obviously becomes a scenario where the next one is the problematic one. So certainly something to monitor, certainly something to watch, certainly something she's aware of.
It's Pat Boylan who joins us right now. It's interesting to look at Sophie Cunningham and what she's capable of bringing on the floor and also what she does off the floor. It is an interesting dynamic that I will always tell you. She looks like a very fun-loving basketball on and off the floor human, and I think we need more of that.
I was just having this conversation with somebody that works with PS&E on the marketing side, and they were making the point that she's the exact same person on the floor as off the floor, and I think that's part of what genuinely attracts people to her personality. Just, that's who she is. Like she doesn't put on a show or put on a different face when she hits the floor. That's exactly who she is if you run into her in a back hallway. It's just genuinely Sophie Cunningham. And she's obviously a very unique personality. She's outspoken. She plays the game with passion. It's easy to watch her play. It's fun to watch her play. And from an on-the-court perspective, she's brought something extremely important because we know how good of three-point shooters Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are. But other teams obviously are constantly keying in on those two. And when Cunningham has been able to hit shots like she has here recently, and really her whole time in Indiana, I mean, over the last 2 years, she has the best three-point percentage in the WNBA. The only time where she hasn't really been able to perform was last year when she was hurt. So her role is massive, I think, here for the Fever as we get into the second half of the season and post All-Star break play, because there's just a different dynamic, a different level of dynamism when her shot is falling to this offense. You know, they're really good regardless because they have 3 All-Star starters. As long as that 3 is healthy, more often than not, the Fever are putting up a crooked number. But when you add Sophie Cunningham knocking down shots to the mix, it just makes it 1 degree tougher. And, you know, she's had a couple games this year, the one that jumps out to me being in Connecticut, who, of course, is the Fever's next opponent. But Indiana was in a pretty tough way down the stretch in that game in Connecticut. And Sophie Cunningham just caught absolute fire. I think hit 4 threes in the final 5 minutes, helped lead the Fever to a victory. You go a couple weeks ago in Phoenix, the Fever are down 10 with 5 minutes to go. And she got all of that started. You know, Michaela Timpson had that iconic block, and Ty Harris hit a bunch of shots, and Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston got Indiana over the hump. But easy to forget that the Fever were down 10, and Cunningham just kind of casually stepped up and knocked down a 3 to get it to 7, and that's really what started the comeback. So you look at 2 games where the Fever could have easily lost, and Sophie Cunningham played a major role in 2 victories. The difference between being maybe 14-12 and 16-10, which is obviously significant. So, yeah, I mean, she's the type of player that can swing a game. She's the type of player that can swing a playoff series, and her shot making has been at a very high level, really maybe as high as anybody not named Kelsey Mitchell lately.
Pat, where would you slot Kelsey Mitchell in terms of MVP rankings so far this year?
Yeah, I haven't sat down and done the exercise, but it certainly feels top 5 because she was top 5 last year, and she's having a better year this year. I mean, her consistency is really remarkable. Her worst game, her lowest scoring game in the last month is a 20-point game. I mean, that's just it's almost hard to believe, and it's becoming historic. She's had 10 straight games with 20 or more. The all-time WNBA record for guards is 13 straight games, and she's 5th all-time with that 10 right now. And it's interesting because if you watch Kelsey Mitchell early in her career, and of course this happens, she's not the only player that this is the story for, but you would have said, wow, you know, when she's on, but you'd love to see it more consistently. And now you look at her, and she is the model of consistency from the guard position, in my opinion. You look at what she did, you know, the final 20, 25 games last year, what she's done this year. I mean, it's a run that you're only talking about really a handful of guards that have ever pulled off. I'm not sure another guard is having a better season than her, so I think it's at bare minimum in the top 5. And potentially the top 3. I think Asia Wilson is having another one of those years where it's going to be tough to not name her MVP, but we still have a ways to go here. I think Caitlin Clark is going to continue to, you know, be in that mix as well. But she's been spectacular. And in games where the Fever had needed her, she stepped up. You know, I thought she was the big difference maker in the game against New York on Saturday. And her consistency has just been so vital to what the Fever have been able to do this year because they started the year 5-5. So you consider where they are now at 16-10. That's 11-5 over your last 16 games, and that's really the stretch where Kelsey Mitchell started to turn it on. No coincidence there, in my opinion.
Is Pat Boylan, the voice of the Fever? He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Also, obviously, doing all the stuff with the Pacers and. Before too long, that will be back as well. It's good to see Tyrese Halliburton, whether he's, you know, doing a hit on a sports talk show or, you know, a WWE vilifying type of event right there. It's good to see him back and in good spirits. You look at this Pacer team going in, a lot has been lost on the fact they won 19 games a year ago. So everybody else is kind of slotted ahead. I think last check, DraftKings right now has them at an over-under of 44.5. Is that where present time you would expect them to be, Pat?
No, it's not where I would expect them to be. I think they're going to be hopefully significantly better than that. It's maybe DraftKings wanting to see how he looks off of the Achilles.
Right.
I do think the first month or so has the potential to be, a challenging month. We'll see what the schedule looks like here. My hope is that, it would be a little bit easier on the front end just because you've got Tyrese Halliburton trying to work his way back. And, as mentally strong as he is and as mentally strong as anybody can be, that's just a process. It takes time. It takes time to trust it mentally. It takes time to trust it physically. It takes time to get back in the swing of things. You talk about players that have rust when they're out for 2 to 3 weeks. This guy's been out for, 16, 17 months by the time the season rolls around. So there's going to be ample rust that he's going to have to work off. And it's just kind of a reality of life. And then you add Ivica Zubac into the mix, who I think is going to be a major game changer for them in numerous ways that they haven't had in many years. But the style is very different. And figuring out for Tyrese, how to make Zubac work versus Miles Turner is a completely different equation. I think Tyrese is going to see more open shots off of screens than he's seen in his life. I think potentially when hopefully he's back up into 100%, you're maybe seeing Tyrese score a few more points than in previous years because I think that screening ability from Zubac is going to be so valuable. The rolling ability is going to be so valuable. At the same time, you're not going to have the pick and pop to the level at least that you used to have. So figuring out that equation, figuring out his own equation, there's a lot of equation figuring out for the Pacers to do once the season begins in late October. And so I think that first month could potentially be one where it takes a lot of time to get to the level that you want to be. But you just look at this roster and you say, okay, the group last time they were healthy, even if you say, the playoff run was better than their record, which of course it was still a team that got to 50 wins. So, yeah, that seems low to me. I'm certainly hopeful it's going to be low. And I think, it's hard to project a whole season out, especially when you're standing here in July. But
yeah.
I guess it wouldn't totally shock me if the Pacers had kind of a similar regular season to the one they had the last time he was healthy, which is they got off to a slow start, but once they got things going, they really were cooking. And hopefully there will be a point where Tyrese Halliburton feels 100% on that Achilles. There'll be a point when Ivica Zubac and the Pacers, feel how they can best utilize him. And when all of that happens, I think they're really, really dangerous. But I can't say I'm totally shocked to see people doubting that either.
All right, Pacers Foundation Charity Softball Classic. It is back Monday, August the 24th. Tickets go on sale for this July the 24th. Will you be a part of it at Victory Field? Do you know yet?
I was wondering the same thing. So I think I need to check on that. I got to do it a couple of years. The final year it existed, my final at-bat was a hit. So I believe I'm on like a 9-year hitting streak. Or it hasn't been that long. Maybe a 7-year hitting streak there. But
right.
Would love to be a part. If not, I'm thrilled it's back. This is something that, like, Tyrese Halliburton is so good with understanding, what's important and optics and all of that. And this is something that, frankly, I missed. I thought it was a cool part of the summer. I'm thrilled it's back. Kudos to Tyrese for recognizing that and pulling it off.
That is Pat Boylan. And again, the Pacers Foundation Charity Softball Classic. And Tyrese Halliburton is the guy that has this back together again. That's Monday, August the 24th, with tickets going on sale July the 24th. Victory Field is the location. It is back. That's Pat Boylan on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You get the Fever in Connecticut coming up tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And you can catch Tidrow getting you into it right here coming up at 7:30. But Pat's always got you covered. Little all-star break, and then he'll be back at it. 3 on the West Coast coming up, or at least 2 on the West Coast, 1 in Minnesota coming up after the all-star break. Pat's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. My pal, I appreciate you more than you know. Enjoy that time off. If you do get some time off, we'll catch back up again soon.
Hey, thanks, John. Looking forward to chatting soon.
Pat Boylan on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So I got to hit a break here, James, and I know I got to run. 2 things. One, I get a mention here on the text line at 317-239-1070 that Sophie Cunningham is Lance Stevenson of the Pacers. She for the Fever is Lance of the Pacers. Yes or no? Anybody? Anybody want to?
I mean, she definitely isn't afraid to go at people, but I don't know if she's quite to
Sophie
Lance's level.
Cunningham, Lance Stevenson. And then Dean in Broad Ripple says this: Kroger has your Outlaw Light beer on sale, $14 for a 30-pack.
Oh,
woo!
There you go. And you said you could drink these ones, right?
Maybe not a ton of them like I do others, because it's like what 105, 110, something like that.
It was somewhere in that realm.
$14 for a 30-pack. Paradise Day Watson's going to be drinking some Outlaw Light beer this weekend, buddy. Let me tell you. That's what's coming. Little Outlaw Light beer for Paradise Day Watson. Quick one, we'll come back. Garth Brooks tickets before the end of the show, and Dan Wetzel coming up at the top of the hour. Quick weather update courtesy of Fox 59 right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Hey, John here. July, America's 250th birthday. We celebrated that back on July the 4th, but really, it is the entire month of July where you can save and save big and go big here. $250 for $250 the deal all month long going on with the Low T Center. That is, dudes that start testosterone therapy and hang with it for 90 days earn $250 back. You know the drill on this. If you're over 40, low energy, low sex drive, and not feeling like yourself, you don't have to stay that way. So celebrate 250 years of America with the Low T Center's 250 for 250 deal. Because bringing back the energy and vitality of your youth is worth celebrating. FixMyLowT.com. That's fixmylowt.com. This offer ends July the 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Fixmylowt.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Drivers, start your engines.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Speedway City Garage. Coffee and beer. That is perfect. 1552 Main Street and Speedway coming up on Thursday. Shout out to Jeff Matthews for putting this together, an Indiana Stater. Now, unfortunately, he was a member of the Pike fraternity, but he's a cool dude. He may be one of the few cool dudes that were a part of that.
Was that your rival fraternity back there?
No, I didn't pledge. I didn't need to.
Oh, really?
No, I threw the parties, and the parties came to me. I dictated terms on the parties over there. I stayed independent. Now, all those clowns over there wanted me to join them. I don't want you to join you guys. I did, however, and I'm assuming Jeff was not a part of this, I did DJ once a Pike fraternity party over there, and it was all dudes. All dudes. Hell, I think it was like on a Sunday night. All dudes on a Sunday night. And that's why I always reference, I felt like I was at a Boy Scout meeting trying to earn my merit badge. Not even the music that I played could compel the energy that is necessary right there. It was unfortunate. Jeff is a great dude, and I don't know if you have seen Speedway City Garage. Outstanding. It's just another one of those great places you're going to find on Main Street and Speedway, and the job that they have done is incredible. But that is on Thursday at Speedway City Garage. The NASCAR Hauler Parade is going to go right down Main Street. And that is where we're going to be. Now, Founders Grounds Coffee is the coffee. Pax Verum Brewing is the beer. Now, I have not looked this up. James, can you look up? This is Indiana Brewing. I want to say, are they out of Lapel? Pax Verum? Paxverum Brewing. Do they have a light beer for your old pal Johnny right here? We have a light beer offering. Just out of curiosity, Paxverum Brewing. Pax Verum Brewing.
Pax Verum Brewing. Let's see.
I thought that was out of Lapel. I need a little bit more background. I'm assuming that Jeff and the gang will offer that up coming up on Thursday because I want to educate people on the great Indiana Brewing and the Founders Coffee. And I get down with that. I need all the energy. I'm always searching for energy. James, what do you got answer-wise there?
They have got a very wide variety of at least canned beers. I don't see anything that's labeled as light beer, but of course they all have unique, interesting names.
Cool.
So I'm kind of having to sort through it right now.
Unique, interesting names. I can't wait for it.
Well, there's Dark Matter, there's Secret Meeting, there's Midnight Shadow, there's Expand Your View. There were some fun ones.
Is there one that sounds light there? Is there like...
There's Velvety Kush.
Sounds exactly like me right there. Did you say Velvety Kush or Tush?
Velvety Kush.
Velvety Tush would be more like me. I like it, though. I am incredibly excited about this. And I think that there's been ongoing dialogue to have me out there for a while. And Jeff's been a longtime listener and friend of this show. I am so excited about it.
So they do have the Speedway City Lager, which is an American light lager. I do not see a calorie count on it, though.
We may have to find that out. Can I pour it in a glass and is it one of those things where I can take a picture of it? It'll tell me.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's what they do, right? Don't they do stuff where they're all the time trying to sell me some app where I take a picture of what I'm eating and it tells me the calorie count.
No, I don't know.
Is that fake?
I don't know if that's fake. I don't know if there's a version of that works for beer. I don't know if there's a way the app could tell what beer it is.
Well, there better be. When you have a guy that only eats cottage cheese and tuna and drinks beer, then we've got to find out exactly what the intake is and work at the deficit. Can't wait to see you guys, and I mean everybody on Thursday. This is all hands on deck Thursday. There is going to be a lot to live up to because Moran's Bar and Grill in Anderson last Thursday was outstanding. Cheryl and the gang up there, great. And then, man, we tripped that light fantastic at the District Tab downtown with Hurst Lamontes and Alex and Chase and Michael. What a great time. Tamika Catchings joins us live. Damone was on the show. So we have a certain amount to live up to coming up on Thursday. Speedway City Garage. I love Speedway. My grandparents lived there for a number of years. And that was the older school Speedway. This is the new, awesome-looking Main Street Speedway. And Speedway City Garage is a part of that. So we'll look for you coming up. That is on Thursday. Be there. Velvety Kush. I dig it. That's not the light beer offering, though.
That's not, no.
Okay. I like that name.
I do, too. The Google AI is saying that this Speedway City Lager thing is 50 calories per serving. I don't know if I buy that, but...
If it were 50 that's all I will drink forever if it's 50 calories.
I mean, that would just be water at this point,
well, that's all I drink's water. That's why I drink listen, this may not even play out to me in the end, right? Because with the low alcohol content and the likely a lot of yellow water that I'm drinking, James, I've got to drink like 20 of them to get my little groove on here.
Almost seems like you're completely like undercutting the whole lack of calories with that.
I might be, but I haven't told you that I'll drink a couple and then this is at Paradise Day Watson, I'll throw down a couple of shots of whiskey or bourbon or something and then go back to it.
Well, that'll get the job done.
Hey, I've always been really capable of finding a way there. I find a way there. Big Glenn says, I'll tell you what, we get JMV to drink some of that Founder's coffee. He'll be going up and down Main Street like the Ultimate Warrior. There's no doubt about that.
You're not a coffee guy, are you?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And have you not seen it here? And I kind of sneak it here. You can see it.
Oh.
But it is entirely black coffee loaded with caffeine. No sugar, no nothing. I put nothing in it.
I'm sure
And I chug it, and it's not because I enjoy the taste. I just want the edge. It provides an edge, and it probably is crushing the innards of my body right now, but whatever.
I was about to say, on Thursday, there's going to be coffee and beer there, isn't there?
I'm going to be...
Your stomach is going to be
I will
not
say
happy.
this. I don't know if they have this as an offering, but I love a good Cuban coffee. Love it.
Cuban coffee.
That rocks my world, and I dig it.
Is it
because there are very few things energy-wise. I try everything before I play hoop and anything to get the energy going, and I've done this stuff so much to where it's kind of numbed the effect now. So I'm always looking for that edge. And when I get a chance to get a Cuban coffee, I don't know why it does, but, man, it fires me up.
So it's like regular coffee on steroids?
Yeah. I do look like the Ultimate Warrior running out of the locker room right there, which I know that's not the greatest of descriptions now, considering the circumstances. But, yeah, that definitely puts my 78 on 45 of our record album on the record player right here. This is a good question. I'll do this on the other side. This is from Elvis. The Pacers really need that third star to be a true champion. They have Halliburton and Siakam. I expected Mathurin to be that third budding star. Now that they don't have that, especially after losing that top selection and Mathurin. I will tell you this. Here's my belief. My belief is you are going to see so much more substantially from two players. And you know me already. I have a deeply rooted belief in this core group. I completely understand and agree with the path that has been taken. Those two players on the other side. Dan Wetzel is going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. Garth Brooks tickets for somebody. Now 4 shows offered up in the month of August at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Got you covered on that. Somebody's going to win that in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Don't go anywhere. This is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Thank you so much, Connecticut Water Systems, Joe and the gang, for making sure that I have incredible water in my home, considering that my well water where I live is basically coming out of the creek. Yeah, that's problematic if you're looking for a high level of water with drinkability, washing, making sure it doesn't dry up your skin, not to mention washing your clothes. It is all essentials, and Connecticut Water can transform anybody's water. And if it can do mine, it can absolutely take yours to the highest level. Custom built systems exclusive to you. And a no-cost test to find out exactly what you mean. And then they find out what is necessary for you and your home and your water, and then they build something, again, specifically for you. No generic system, no generic equipment, something that will work for you. That's Connecticut Water Systems. Tell them that I sent you today. That's Joe and the gang to make sure your water is the absolute best. So get that no-cost test today, Connecticut.com. That's Connecticut.com. Tell them JMV sent you.
The Ride with JMV.
JMV does not suck at all.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Got a quick update from Blake, by the way. You just heard him. He's a lot older now. Blake said, quote, AJ was playing the Kart Fury video game on The Sopranos, racing the Vancouver map. Blake is, I think, in season 2, he is watching all The Sopranos right now.
Gotcha. Is that his first time watching it?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to make sure, because I know that Doug Bowles is on with the Morning Dudes coming up here relatively soon. That's not Thursday, right?
I thought it was tomorrow, but it might be Thursday. Let me double check.
Because I'm going to put him on Thursday. I'm going to have him come over and join us at Speedway City Garage. Now, I tried to abide by the rules of not double booking. Would it be double booked, or is he tomorrow with them?
He is on the morning show tomorrow.
Okay, good. So we'll do Doug Bowles on Thursday. There was a couple of weeks ago when they double booked Mike Chappell.
Yeah,
and I was going to have to whip some ass. I was ready to whip some ass.
I think that was when I was out on the week.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you got 3 people. I don't know. Mark was probably on vacation for the 100th time. But, there's some ass whipping was going to go down there. Unless we all get along. But no, I want to see if Doug wants to come over and join us at Speedway City Garage on Thursday. What time should I tell him would work?
You want to do 4 p.m.?
We'll do 4 o'clock.
Let's do it.
With Doug Bowles. Speedway Prez and more. JMV, does Jimmy work at Neiman's Harvest Market in Carmel? If so, I just saw him in the checkout line. He can work that register. I believe our good friend Jimmy does work at Neiman's Harvest Market. Shout out to Jimmy at Neiman's Harvest Market in the process. Rex says, I'm not sure who talks about booze more, JMV or Hammer. Well, we come by that honestly because we hang out here in the hallway before we go back to our respective studios every day. Makes sense, right? JMV, who do you believe will turn significant corners this season for the Pacers? Both Nembhard and Neesmith are going to have even better seasons than what you believe in right now. Both of those dudes will have even better seasons. And don't get the impact, the double-double impact of Ivica Zubac. And I'm not trying to blow sunshine up your rear end. This is what I firmly believe. Zubac is going to give you double power, not just average-wise for this, every single night. And again, he's going to function in a way in which basically you have never seen. And you sure as hell haven't seen it in recent memory. And I know I was an advocate, and I was right to do it for Miles Turner because it worked out. They got to the 7th game of the NBA Finals. Now, he crapped out and then did whatever he did in the offseason. At least he's earning. But it worked out, and it was a benefit for this team on both ends. But the one thing he didn't provide, the most significant thing that they didn't have, was any rebounding presence whatsoever. This is going to allow them to get second chance opportunities, and in the NBA, second chance opportunities are much easier than the initial opportunities per possession. This is going to be an addition that you have never seen. Mark my words. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Dan Wetzel, senior writer for ESPN, is going to join us on the other side. A little Big Ten conversation. Just how hated the Indiana football Hoosiers are. Do they rival Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia? I think they do, because I think all of those teams now hate IU. It's not just thinking about IU. They're no longer just the little engine that could. They're the big engine that did and continues to grind out monetarily, NIL, and bring in players. So the defending champs, the most hated in college football right now. That and more with Dan Wetzel on the other side. Garth Brooks tickets as well. Don't go anywhere. This is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. All right, maybe you don't need it right now. Maybe you do. Either way, make sure you have this number handy. The best in realty. Mark Dietel, Mark Dietel Realty. 317-755-4232. That's markdietel.com, MarkDietel.com. Today, I just talked to Mark a little bit earlier. Things are going fantastically, and that's what happens when you're the best to do it right here. You have a lot of people that you have earned the trust and understand that that is the direction they need to go when you're going through a big-time decision just like this. Maybe you're downsizing because the kids are going off to college. Maybe you're upgrading. Makes no difference. Mark Dietel is the best to do both for you at 317-755-4232. In fact, Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. It's Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel Realty. 317-755-4232. That's markdietel.com. MarkDietel.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Hey, Yankees, you can take your apology out of your trophy and shove it straight up your ass.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I love it. Shout out to Tanner Boyle. All right, well, keep trying. Dan Wetzel evidently is not answering, but he just said 5. I hope he said 5. Hope I said 5. Let's see if the host of the show clustered this one up, which would not be unusual. Yeah, 5 o'clock. Yes. And he's in the great state of Michigan. Is it still smoky up there?
I think Michigan is on Eastern time, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Wildfire. That was played on Saturday night. Hey, by the way, too, if you guys are asking, the JMV Takeover Saturday night is whatever. Whatever is basically what I do anyway, but it is always significant, to say the least. That is coming up the All Request Saturday night. JMV Takeover on B105.7. All right, before we get to Dan Wetzel, hopefully he does answer coming up because I said 5, he said 5, everybody said 5. 317-239-1070. Until we get to Dan, I will supply tremendous content for you. JMV, I agree that second chance opportunities are very important in the NBA, so why don't NBA and WNBA players follow their shots? Here's why. And I don't know if the analytics, and believe me, it's not likely I'm going to believe in any eggheads anytime soon regarding this. But to me, I understand following your shot, but for teams that aren't great on the offensive glass, you follow your shot and then the team clears the board and goes the other direction and has numbers. To me, that is more problematic. And that is going to be one of the things you're going to have to get used to with Zubats over Miles. And if you remember Miles, he was not a good rebounder for his size. And I always thought, because after rim protecting, he didn't really go after it. It was like it was a conservation type of effort here, to where the thought was, if it's not anywhere near what my rebounding window might be, then I'm going to go ahead and start back to the other end. I'm talking about the offensive glass here. I'm going to go ahead and start back to the other end to make sure I am down there to provide the substantial rim protection, because that's what he was most noted for. And if you follow your own shot when you play basketball, oftentimes it's your guy that goes to the other end and ends up creating an easy look because you're trying to track down your own. I can be talked into that not being a good idea. And I know what coaches and basketball gurus have said over and over again. I just don't know if I buy it. Did I give you the right number, Palomino?
I think I have the right number, but send me the one you texted just so I know.
Son of a gun. All right. Dan Wetzel and his number right here. This is fantastic radio that I'm creating for everybody, but it's the way that it goes. Oh, yeah, there it is. I got to make sure that I can share this with James right here. There's so many steps I have to go through to share a number. It's almost better if I just write it down and show you. There you go. That may be the same one, maybe not. But I'm not. Is it the same one? That's all right. Well, we'll wait. And if he shows up, he shows up. If he doesn't, he doesn't. My toes are still tapping, Damone. I've just never been that big of a follow your own. Everybody preaches it from the time you pop out of your diapers and the first time you play, follow your own shot. I've never been a huge fan of it. And that's mainly because my shot goes in. But I understand what you're talking about here. JMV, I do believe in this Pacers team, too. Purchase season tickets for the first time. I can't wait for the season to begin. And I want everybody to understand that this is going to take a minute. You go back to the season the year before last that we absolutely love. And it took more than a minute. I remember sitting at Tom's Watch Bar, me and Gina and Lindsay and all of our friends. And they were playing the Hornets on a Sunday evening, and it was an absolute disaster. And that's when I thought right then and there, yeah, this team that I believed in is not it. And they found itself, and it's going to be more like that because your most significant player, the orchestrator that makes everybody else on this team better. It's going to take him a minute. I love the frame of mind that he's in right now, but when the basketball gets underway, it's going to take him a minute. So understand that beforehand. Sorry, James, I swear that I booked him and I talked to him a little bit earlier.
Well, hopefully he'll get back in touch with us.
I'm sure that he will. I'm not going to hold my breath on any of these dudes, but I'm sure that he will. JMV, regarding your Caitlin Clark thought a little bit earlier, Caitlin Clark has a Jekyll and Hyde personality. She is so well composed and intelligent in press conferences, but loses her mind on the court far too often. The on-the-court antics are exhausting. I understand the frustration, but sometimes you have to play above it. And this is a situation that now with the 6 technicals, Jeremiah, that she has created. Nobody else has created this. And you can say, well, it's the WNBA officiating. We know that it sucks. You have to move forward accordingly, understanding that it sucks, and the likelihood of it sucking every single night is prevalent. Thus, move forward with that understanding. You probably are going to get some non-calls. You probably are going to get some calls. But you have, again, exhausted your opportunities at being outrageous and outlandish in your response to this. My only thing is you can have 6 technicals. That is great. But you cannot miss a game because of this. You can't do it. There's nothing out there that justifies it. Not the awful WNBA officiating, not the way that the league is operating, not the way that the organization operates, not what you believe or don't believe in the head coach. None of that crap matters. This is in the hands of the player. And when you think about it, teammates, organization, fans, you got to be out there. So you can get mad to a point, and that's great. But when you get mad, then all of a sudden you're going to end up missing a game. That's when it's absolutely unacceptable. That's it. Somebody asked right here, James, maybe Dan Wetzel got laid off.
What a way to find that out.
He has never not been there when we
really
called.
Yeah,
never. He is such a tremendous dude, and this goes back when he was I think he was at Fox and then at Yahoo. When I go back to Fall Creek Road, he was on with me all the time. He showed up live at live shows. Mm-hmm. So this is not like him. So hopefully something is not wrong.
Yeah, this is
because
ominous.
he's always shown up.
I think it was the last time that maybe I had booked him. He was, I think, a little bit late, but he did, to his credit, he did respond to me and tell me that he needed more time.
He is a tremendous human being, and I hope everything is okay.
The radio silence is a little bit disturbing.
This is not great, because you saw Ryan Clark went on yesterday, and they found out while he was on the air that he was getting canned. Mercy. You got to be better than that.
Yeah, no
You
kidding.
got to be better than that. I don't care what you think about a person. You deserve better than that. Everybody does. Just so you know. JMV, where are you getting Cuban coffee? I've been dying to find a convenient spot for visiting Miami or after visiting Miami for the IU games. I will say this. There used to be this Cuban place. It was first in Broad Ripple, and then it went, I think, on Michigan Road. I don't think it is in existence, but it had a Cuban coffee, as I was talking about earlier, as you're bringing up right here, that would absolutely knock your socks off. And I don't know anything about the caloric intake. I do know this, that I felt like, and listen, it was not laced with cocaine or anything like that, but I felt like Tony Montana in Scarface when he sticks his face in that pile of cocaine. I mean, I was just all over the place.
Could have run through a wall.
Or Beavis from Beavis and Butthead when he starts drinking or eating sugar packets. That's me right there.
Now, we did have somebody just call in, and I can't remember the term he used to describe this type of coffee, but he asked if you had ever had the coffee that is grown in monkey feces, or if you had ever heard of that.
Listen, I'm not above it. I don't care.
Really?
If it gives me energy, I'll probably ingest it or inject it or rub it on or something.
Oh,
maybe not insert it, but yeah, you know what I mean. I would do mostly anything.
Rub it on, still kind of wild.
And listen, I'm not above insertion, but who knows? It just depends on the outcome.
I gotta clip that.
Yeah, I'm not above insertion. Derek says he's toast if he's a tremendous human being. Mickey Mouse is ruthless. It is very surprising that he's not here. Very surprising. JMV, so I went to Indiana State the same time as you. We used to beat up Pikes when we were bored. I was asked by a couple of different fraternities to be a part of it. It was just no need. I guess I was a part of, and you're going to laugh, I was a part of a Greene County fraternity. I lived in a big house at 8th and Crawford back in the early 90s with 5 other Greene County dudes, and it was wild. There was zero need to join a fraternity. It was wild. I was trying to think how many of those actually got degrees. I don't think a lot of them made it to the finish line. I did. I just think they wanted to get me out of there. Paul Younghouse, back in the day, was my advisor, and I think he said, quote, "You're close enough. Here's your degree." I said, cool. You're close enough. So I don't know if I actually hit the tape or not on the finish line, but yeah, you're close enough.
I mean, you got the physical degree, didn't you?
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, I don't care. Yeah, by now, who cares? Hey, JMV, I agree with the Pacers will be better defensively and rebounding by replacing Turner and Mathurin with more size with Zubats and Kelly Oubre. But they still don't have the bona fide third up-and-coming star that can put them over the edge. What I'm saying is they have the preeminent star that makes everybody better. I don't think that situation, Elvis, is as magnified with the Pacers as it might be with others. And again, that's where my deeply rooted belief in Tyrese Halliburton, that's where it is. Because he's going to make others better on that team by his presence alone. I don't think this is a pipe dream. Yeah, I don't think this is crossing my fingers and hoping. Like the Colts are built to a fashion for this year to where in a lot of phases you cross your fingers and you hope everything's going to be okay. This is different. This is something we have seen, and there's a reason why I believe in it. Because it is also something that is transferable. And I know, 19-win season a year ago, but you saw how injury compromised they were. The one thing, even above, Elvis, what you're talking about here in terms of a third bona fide star, the one thing that I don't want to see backpedal as much as I'm concerned about here is the pace of play. Now, there are a lot of ways you can play fast and still have the same type of effect on the opposition as they did the year before last. But I always thought that was their biggest weapon right there. Oh, yeah, we're done. We're done early, too. Man,
we are done early
This
today.
is completely screwing over the show right here.
No kidding.
Man, I hope he's okay. That's going to bum me out. Can you imagine? Nobody will ever want to appear on this show again.
Be like the career Grim Reaper.
We had a guy, and then, yeah. But I have not seen his name on any of this.
I just checked on Twitter and on Google, and I didn't see anything. So
I hope you're right. JMV, I know you're going to be at Kroger on Crawfordsville Road coming up on Saturday. You got to love it when alcohol is cheaper than buying soda. Yeah, I'm going to be with Outlaw Light and Tyler Reddick coming up on Saturday morning beginning at 9 a.m. So come join us all out there, 9 a.m. And by the way, Doug Bowles appears to be good for the Speedway City Garage at 4 o'clock coming up on Thursday. It's our first time out there. Shout out to Jeff Matthews for having us. The Speedway City Garage. I'll explain a little bit more. It's coffee, it's beer, it is spectacular. That's on Thursday. Scott Agnes tomorrow. Kevin Bowen's going to join us coming up tomorrow as well. And a busy rest of the week right here. Quick break, we'll come back. Garth Brooks tickets. What time we got to bail today? We got an early out, right?
We'll be bailing around 5:40.
All right, so why do we have an early out tonight? Why is that?
So we have the Colts Daily Update that comes on right after that. And That's a 15-minute show.
Gotcha.
And then that will lead directly into Beyond the Bricks, which runs from 6 to 7 p.m. today.
All right, Diego, what's up? All right, then. So we're out at what time?
We are out at around 5:40.
All right, so be ready. So a little bit earlier than usual for the Garth Brooks tickets. We'll give those away coming up in just a bit, so sit tight. Calls on the other side if you guys want to join. It appears that Dan Wetzel is going to no-show. Hopefully it's good. It does concern me. Otherwise, 317-239-1070. You guys on the other side. The Pacers Foundation softball game is back and set for August. Talk about that coming up, too. Pat Boylan, Greg Rakestraw a little bit earlier. Podcast 1075thefan.com. Back with you after we go weather update, courtesy of Fox 59. Hey, John for PWLND.com. Of course, that is Premier Weight Loss. Thomas and Lauren and Samantha for the past 2+ years been keeping me in line. GLP-1 weight loss injections in Indy. But, it is so much more than that. Listen, it's not like I would just inject and then, hey, it all melts away. Doing the work alongside, you are going to see tremendous results. Thus, you will reach your goals. That's exactly what you're looking for. Doing things that you used to do that you can no longer do. You lose the weight, you feel better, you look better, and then your health is better. That is exactly what you're looking for. at pwlnd.com or give them a call on the north side today, 317-643-4444, in Fishers at 317-567-9100. Ask about their great deals, and also understand this: anywhere in the state, you don't necessarily have to make all of these trips to either one of these locations. You can do it remotely at your convenience and save big by getting started on your very own weight loss journey right now with Premier Weight Loss at pwlnd.com. Ask about the cosmetic treatments that they offer, including electronic toning, Botox, skin tightening, all at Premier Weight Loss. But make sure you tell them that I sent you. I'm telling you, feeling good, feeling better, and think about this, being more healthy. It is just a phone call away. 317-643-4444. That's online at pwlnd.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It looks like Caitlin Clark's going to be a part of the three-point contest. I don't know if that's officially been announced for the WNBA All-Star Game. Did she turn it down, though? Yahoo's got a report that she turned it down. Somebody just sent me that she was a part of it. Yahoo told me just now that she's turned it down. Yeah, will not participate in that, along with a couple of others in the three-point contest. Kayla McBride being one. Both in this case being invited and then turning down the invitation. That's according to yahoo.com. So you guys know out there. JMV, hey, Kush Beer probably has the THC in it like Willie Nelson's new drink. I don't know.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
That would be prominent probably right there. A lot of them do, though. I mentioned Speedway City Garage coming up on Thursday. Doug Bowles will join us on Thursday, too, of course. The NASCAR, the Brickyard 400 Hauler Parade is going to take place over on Main Street, and we're going to be at Speedway City Garage, Founders Grounds Coffee, and Pax Verum Brewing. 1552 Main Street and Speedway. James.
I just double-checked. There is no listed THC value on there, so it looks like it's just a regular old beer.
Man, what was the light beer that I'm looking for out there? Something Speedway, something or other.
It was, let me pull it back up. It was one of their drafts. I don't know if they have it in the can form. The Speedway City Lager.
Love it. JMV, GED, good enough degree. I guess that maybe that's what I got from Indiana State, the good enough degree. That's good enough, sir. Go ahead and bail. JMV, did you get a load of the Reds last night? I've checked out on the Reds long ago. So they lose 8-0, and once again, an embarrassing fashion. Cardinals lose 3-2 to the Angels. Cubs a loser in 10 to the Tigers last night. 8-6 was the final there. What is most significant today, so the Reds are obviously going to be selling coming up prior to the trade deadline, and there are rumors out there that if they're blown away by an offer for Hunter Green, the right-handed power pitcher, who oftentimes is injured, then they may make a move on Hunter Green, but they have to be blown away. And my suggestion is this: if the nerd, Nick the Nerd, if it can help the Reds blow in any category, he will probably make the move. There's zero, and I mean zero way I would allow this dude to make any other moves. None. I know it's still his gig, but come on. How much longer will this mess be his gig? Do you allow him to make deals? Why would you? Why would you? If you're not going to be around, why would you? It hasn't worked. Just embarrassing. Reds and Mariners later on tonight. That is 9:40 from T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Chase Burns, who's been really good this season, is at the very least on the mound. Luis Castillo, the former Redlegs right-hander at 3-8, toes the rubber as a starter for the Mariners tonight. Cardinals, Angels, 9:38 tonight out west, and Tigers and Cubs once again tonight at 8:05. Now, really the only team around of the Cubs are, as Corey Kenny said yesterday, leading in the wild card. White Sox a game up on Cleveland right now, 53-46. So that is something that is new and is fun if you're watching the White Sox, for real. JMV, so are you telling me that at ESPN you have issues monetarily, and your decision is to let go the 33-year-old Carl Ravitch. Evidently so. That is too bad. I always thought this regarding Carl Ravitch. He was not somebody that you would immediately go, oh, wow, there's Carl Ravitch. But, man, he was so good in the lineup, and you can count on him. He just delivered every time. For 33 years, in fact, delivered. One of the many, and hopefully our friend Dan Wetzel was not one of them, considering we have not heard from him this afternoon when he told me he was coming on. Hopefully not.
I still have nothing back from him.
I know it. I'm concerned. By the way, that topic is regarding the number of layoffs at ESPN, including Bart Scott, Tom Pelissero, Charles Davis. All of those have been guests on this show before. David Lloyd, SportsCenter anchor, Carl Ravitch, a jack of all trades and SportsCenter anchor. Too bad to hear that. All right. On the other side, Garth tickets.
Let's do it.
All right. We'll think about that coming up next. Garth Brooks tickets coming up next. They have now 4 shows coming up in August at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Garth Brooks tickets. We do have to bail a little bit early. I'll explain that, give you a chance to win those tickets, and then also preview tomorrow's show coming up next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. I love some L.D. Smith Plumbing and Drains. L.D. Smith Plumbing and Drains. 317-927-7186. You're thinking, well, wait a minute. What about your love affair with a plumbing company? Here's why. Because, man, those moments are the absolute worst. When you get sideswiped with a plumbing situation, it becomes very quickly a plumbing emergency. And to know that you have the best in plumbing that has your back, that has your support every single time at 317-927-7186. That is L.D. Smith Plumbing and Drains. Lance and his local team, the absolute best at making sure you are comfortable. Even when you go through plumbing situations that are unforeseen, you know that you have that support. And I will also say this, if you have any of the minor plumbing issues you want to get rectified, you want to get complete right now, you better make that call. 317-927-7186. That is the best in plumbing, L.D. Smith Plumbing and Drains. Again, that number, tell him I sent you. Lance and his local team at 317-927-7186. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com. That is Connecticut Water Systems and Joe at Connecticut.com. If you don't have a Connecticut water system in your home, you don't have, simply put, the best water possible. Get that no-cost test today because they're going to evaluate that, and then they're going to move on what is best suited for you, meaning a custom-built system for your water situation to make sure that it's the absolute best. No generic equipment, just real and specific for your in-home water needs. That's Joe and Connecticut Water Systems today. Make that appointment. Get that absolutely free water test to see where your water situation is and what Connecticut can do to make it the absolute best now. That's Connecticut.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Well, we're waiting.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Nancy Lee says, get the Kush beer and get wild on Thursday at the Speedway City Garage. I will, Nancy. Thank you. You guys all join me there. Garth Brooks tickets. Let's do number 60 at 317-239-1070. Do not disappoint me. Let's get cranking. Number 60, Garth Brooks, 4 shows, tickets available. We're going to give you a chance to win them right now. 317-239-1070 on the text line. 4 shows in the month of August. Garth Brooks, number 60 at 317-239-1070. Your tickets are available to buy but are available to win. Number 60 at 317-239-1070 right now. Listen, if I were the WNBA, I would have Sophie Cunningham in that three-point contest so fast it would make your head spin. Why are they not doing that? Why are they not doing it? In something, right? You got to be in something. Sophie Cunningham's got to be in something. Put her in the three-point contest. And she's not a part of it. By the way, Dan Wetzel finally got back with James. He, quote, forgot.
But he still has a job.
He is still employed by ESPN, but he forgot to join the show. Hopefully, he will not have that issue tomorrow.
Looking like Thursday instead of tomorrow.
Thursday. He will not forget on Thursday. All right, number 60, go at it. I got a bail here. We got a bunch of crap coming up next that does not involve me. Colts update, Beyond the Bricks. My ass is going home to hoop tonight. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 3. We'll do that, right? James, thank you for the time. I will not forget to join you guys tomorrow at 3 and give you a chance at Garth tickets again with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Have a great night.